Now, I have been referencing something throughout this entire video, the escalation ladder, game theory, control versus dominance. Let me actually break down the framework so you understand exactly how this analysis works. Let me give you a simple example. Forget about nations and armies for a second. Think about two people. Two guys bump into each other on the street, A and B. A says, "Hey man, watch where you're going. Say sorry." B says, "It was not my fault." You say sorry. That is step one. A conflict, a small, almost meaningless disagreement. Nobody knows who is at fault. Nobody even remembers exactly what happened. But then it escalates. They start cursing each other. That is step two, verbal aggression. Words designed to provoke, to test, to see who backs down. Then the pushing starts. Step three, physical contact, a shove, another shove. The adrenaline is building now. Then a punch. Step four, and now it is a fight, and then one of them pulls out a knife, and the other pulls out a gun. And suddenly, we are at step six, and somebody might die over a shoulder bump on the sidewalk. Now, here is what you need to understand about this ladder. There are three forces driving people up each rung. The first is emotion, anger, pride, fear, the adrenaline flooding your system, making you feel invincible and reckless at the same time. The second is power. Who is stronger? Who has the weapon? Who has friends nearby? And the third is reason, logic, strategy. The part of your brain that is trying to calculate whether this fight is worth it and how to win it if it is. And here is the critical insight. You cannot skip steps. You do not go from, "Hey, say sorry," to pulling out a gun. The escalation has to happen step by step because adrenaline builds gradually. Each step makes you angrier. Each step makes you more committed. Each step makes it harder to walk away. That is how escalation works. It is a ratchet. It only turns one direction. But, and this is the key, the person who wins is not the person who climbs the ladder fastest. It is not the person who has the bigger weapon. It is the person who remains calm. Because when you remain calm, you have three things your opponent does not. Focus, you know what you are doing. Clarity, you understand how to achieve your objective. And resolve, you are determined to see it through. This is calibration. This is strategic flexibility. This is the ability to choose your response deliberately instead of reacting emotionally. To throw a punch not out of rage, but out of calculation. To escalate not because you lost control, but because it serves your strategy. And this brings us back to the law of escalation. Control is more important than dominance. Because here is the thing people forget. A fight is never just between two people. There are spectators, there are friends watching, there is the law, there are consequences. You might win the fight and go to prison for 10 years. You might knock someone out and lose every friendship you have. You might prove you are stronger and destroy your own life in the process. That is why calibration matters. That is why control matters. That is why the person with the most options, not the most power, usually wins. Now, let me show you how all of this applies to the real world with a thought experiment. Imagine a school, a big school with maybe 100 kids. And in this school, there is a bully, the biggest kid, the strongest. And he has a gang, 4 friends who do his bidding. Together, they run the cafeteria. If you want to eat lunch, you pay a tax, $1, maybe $2. The bully's friends collect the money and bring it back to the boss. And the boss shares the profits with his gang. Now, at first, most kids are fine with this system. Sure, they are paying $1, but the bully keeps the peace. Nobody fights in the cafeteria. Everyone eats their lunch without trouble. It is protection money, but it works. The cafeteria is orderly. People feel safe. But over time, something changes. The bully gets arrogant. He feels invincible. Nobody challenges him. Nobody even looks at him wrong. And so hubris sets in. He starts charging more. The tax goes up, $2, $3, $5. And not only that, he starts paying his friends less. He wants more for himself. A car, a vacation, whatever. Now, everyone is unhappy. The students, the gang members, but nobody says anything. Because what can you do? He is the biggest kid in school. He will beat you up. So people just swallow their frustration and keep paying. Then one day, a new kid walks into the school. He does not know the rules. He goes to the cafeteria, sits down, and starts eating. One of the bully's friends walks over and says, "Hey, where is your dollar?" And the new kid looks up and says, "What dollar? I just got here." he refuses to pay. So they ostracize him, make him sit alone, no friends, no group, total isolation. And the new kid just shrugs and says, I do not care, I am fine by myself. So they escalate. They start cursing him, insulting him, trying to provoke a reaction, and the new kid just sits there, eats his lunch, ignores them completely, and something incredible starts to happen. The other kids, the 100 students who have been paying taxes for years, they start watching, they start whispering, wait, you can just say no, you can just refuse, and what happens? Nothing. He is still alive. Slowly, secretly, kids start approaching the new kid, smiling at him, bringing him snacks, sitting a little closer, not openly because they are still afraid. But the seeds of rebellion have been planted. Even the bully's own friends start questioning things. Why are we doing this? We are not even getting paid properly anymore. Maybe this new kid has the right idea. Maybe if we support him, things would be better for us too. And the bully sees all of this. His empire is cracking. His credibility is eroding. So he does the only thing he knows how to do. He walks up to the new kid and punches him in the face. The new kid is hurt, but he gets up and he punches the bully back. Now, the bully is stronger. He wins the physical fight. He beats the new kid up. But here's what just happened. The entire school just watched the bully get hit. They just watched someone stand up to him and survive. And in that moment, the illusion of invincibility shattered. Because the bully's power was never really about his fists. It was about the belief that no one could challenge him. And the new kid just proved that belief wrong. Now, the bully has two options: retreat and lose everything, or escalate further, hit harder, become more violent, more oppressive, and in doing so, turn the entire school against him. Either way, he loses. That is Iran. Iran is the new kid, calm, controlled, refusing to play by the rules of a system that was never designed to benefit them, absorbing punishment without losing composure, letting the bully overreact, letting the bully expose himself, letting calibration and strategic patience do what brute force never could. And the United States, with all of its military power, all of its weapons, all of its dominance, is being maneuvered into a position where every move it makes weakens its own standing. Control beats dominance every single time. So there you have it. 3 questions, 3 predictions. Yes, the United States will send ground troops, not because they want to, but because escalation will demand it. No, nuclear weapons will not be used, because breaking that taboo would be strategic suicide. And yes, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is in danger. And if it falls, the world as we know it changes overnight. Now, I want to be very clear. For this game theory analysis to be valid, all 3 predictions have to be correct. If even one is wrong, the entire framework needs to be re-examined. That is how theory works. You put it out there, you test it against reality, and reality tells you whether you were right or wrong. These are not settled questions. These are live wires. They are unfolding right now in real time while you and I sit here talking about them. So if you want to stay ahead of what is coming, if you want to understand the moves before they are made, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because this story is far from over, and I will be breaking down every major development as it happens. Share this video with someone who needs to understand what is really going on. Not the headlines, not the noise, the mechanics, because here's the truth most people will never accept. The world is not shaped by the strongest, it is shaped by the most strategic. And right now, in this very moment, someone is making a move. The only question is, will you see it coming?